best news in technology and beyond. This is Crocels News.
Joining me now is Councillor Jonathan Bishop. What other concerns have the constituents been writing to you about?
The biggest number of contacts of all issues has been on the issue of abortion, whether I agree that there should be no abortions on the grounds of the sex of the baby, reducing the period of abortion and that sort of thing. For me, there's conflicting human rights. So an ordinary consensual relationship, you have a human right to found a family, but you also have a human right not to found a family. Giving consent to sex is not automatically consent to found a family, say if you use contraception. So I think the emergency contraception should be available easily so that an embryo doesn't go on to develop sentience.
And what if they don't catch it that quickly, though?
It's not as easy as that if, say, the person didn't know they were carrying a baby. And that's when you get the conflict of rights.
So let's move on now to talk about biometric databases. So what I mean by that is, when you put your finger on your phone to open it up. Do you have any concerns as an IT expert?
Well, I've got my iPhone here, and that's how I log into my mobile banking. So for me, passwords are security by obscurity.
But don't you think that those fingerprints will just be sent straight to the government for them to store? Do you agree with the fact that the government might be able to get access to these fingerprints via large corporations like Apple? Perhaps if somebody hacked Apple, they could get access to it.
Well, that's always a risk, and the government do know how to hack the secure sockets layer. So they may have people working for them who could break through Apple's security, but it's very difficult for the big firms because in order to sell their products, they need to convince their customers that their data is safe. But at the same time, do people really want terrorists to be communicating using heavily encrypted software? Well, the idea of mine that is currently being examined is to be able to tap into, say, terrorist communications and be able to adapt them. So what that could mean in practice is you've got your telephone exchange. If you've got someone who's a known paedophile and at risk of extremism, when they connect via BitTorrent, via 256K encryption, the exchange would let the government know. So even if they couldn't access that data, they know that that at-risk person was communicating at a level of encryption they couldn't intercept.
Okay.
So I would create a law banning sex offenders and other at-risk people from using high-level encryption services and identity masking services.
Right, and so you're for biometric databases, fingerprints then, aren't you? And the government having access to those?
I voluntarily sign up to one, because if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. And having done database theory at university, it's possible to create databases where you have the biometrics in one database and the personal data in another, and it's only if there's a match on the biometrics that you use the ID associated with the biometrics to match up the suspect. And even when you match them up, they're still a suspect who have rights. And for me, it would be more important to promote people's rights to a solicitor when they're arrested and detained, and to know their rights, that they don't necessarily have to be detained, they can be given street bail. So for me, it's more important to inform people of their rights when this data is accessed.
Okay, we've run out of time now, and I know you've got to get back out there on the streets, knocking on doors. So thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, Kerry.
The best news in technology and beyond. This is Crocels News.